In this video, I'm going to show you how to remove the battery in the iPhone 6 Plus. If you want to watch any of the other repair videos, go ahead and click the link in the front of this one. Here's the iPhone 6 Plus. In order to get to the battery, we have to take off the screen. The screen is held down by two pentalobe screws down at the bottom of the phone. If you need tools or replacement batteries, I will link those in the video description, so check there if you need to buy anything. I'm going to lift up on the screen with a suction cup, and that will allow me to slip my pry tool between the screen and the frame. I want to pry up only on the frame of the screen and the frame of the phone. That way I don't cause any damage to the screen because it is very, very fragile. So be very careful with it. Don't bend it past 90 degrees because the ribbon cables will get stressed and we don't want to put any damage to those. Remove the 5 screws, remove the bracket, and then unclasp each of these 4 ribbon cables. Be careful with them, they're just very similar to Legos. Just unclasp them from the motherboard. Technically you don't have to remove the screen for this repair, but getting the battery out can be sort of violent, so we want to make sure we don't damage the screen in the process. Remove the metal bracket and the 2 screws holding down the battery cable. Now, the phone that I'm working on right now has been taken apart before, so I'm going to use footage from my iPhone 6 repair video to kind of teach you how the battery is held down by the glue. I'm warming up the phone from the back. If the phone ever gets too hot for you to touch, you've gone too far, and wait for it to cool down a little bit. You definitely don't want to overheat the phone or you might cause damage. Also, when you're prying out the battery, you want to make sure not to use a metal tool. Try to stick with the plastic tool so you don't cut the battery at all. If you end up cutting the battery, it does pose a fire hazard. It could burn you with the acid underneath. Anyway, so be really careful not to break the black plastic around the battery. So there is a trick that I've learned that might help you out. There are 2 little tabs down at the very bottom of the battery that might help you lift it out of the phone. You will probably still need to warm up the phone to kind of loosen up the glue underneath the battery, but the tabs are there to help you out as well. So give that a shot. You can kind of see how much glue is underneath here. It gets kind of ridiculous. Once you've gotten all the glue out, if the glue is still stuck in the bottom of the phone, you can reuse it later. If not, you want to put in some of the black tape and make sure to avoid damaging the ribbon cables up around the top edge of the phone. Here's the sticky tape, putting in another strand to help hold it down so it doesn't jiggle around inside of the phone and cause any more damage. Clip the battery back into place, get that metal bracket over the top, get those 2 screws back in, and here's the screen. Be very careful as you're kind of putting this back down. Remember, treat them kind of like Legos. Line up the ribbon cable with the slot on the motherboard and just put your finger over it and press down. If you end up with lines on your screen after you turn the phone back on, it means that these ribbon cables aren't seated correctly. So lift up the screen, pop off the ribbon cables, put them back on, reconnect them, make sure they're clipped on good, and that should get rid of your lines issue. Right now the phone is on with the screen still up, just making sure there's no lines or anything. Now I'm turning the phone off because you definitely don't want to work on the phone while the screen is up. There's 5 more screws along the metal plate. Here you want to line up the top of the screen with the phone. There's kind of some grooves that fit in there. Once the grooves are flush with the phone, you can just run your hands down the side of the phone and press the screen down into the metal frame. Be really careful, this phone is gigantic, and so you could break the screen very easily by pressing the wrong place. So make sure to stay around the frame and be very gentle with it. Get the bottom 2 screws in and you are set. If you have any questions, make sure to leave them in the comments below. Don't forget to like if this video helped you, and don't forget to subscribe. It does mean a lot to me. And feel free to check out my Instagram. I think it's pretty fun. Thanks for watching. Hope to see you around.